Welcome to the 2023 Women United Bruncheon. Today we celebrate the power of women and of our united dedication to creating a world of opportunity for everyone. To kick off our event, here we have two rising stars in the world of music. Please welcome members of the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra, Sophia Castallo Boyinger and Maydeen Belote.
And welcome to the 2023 Women United Bruncheon. So I'm Julia Curry. I am a marketing director at Direct Supply, and I'm so excited to welcome you here this morning. Thank you to Sophia and Maydeen for getting us started on the right note with their very beautiful music. This is our 21st year celebrating Women United. And while we have enjoyed looking back at the past 2 decades and reflecting on where we have been, I couldn't be more excited to share with you about the path ahead and work that we are going to accomplish together. Today, you'll hear more about that path and what we are doing to focus on the next generation of leaders in our community. It's a new United Way initiative called Empowering Minds, with a focus on youth mental health concentrated on high school students. Nicole Ingrasano from United Way will be here to give us an overview and some highlights on the initiative. We will also be inspired by the words from our keynote speaker, Dr. Maria Elena Perez. She is the Vice President of Behavioral Health at 16th Street Community Centers. She's going to share her insights on what challenges she sees facing the youth today and why we, as a community, need empowering minds right now. And of course, we will have a chance to celebrate our 2023 Linda T. Mellows Women Leader of the Year Award honoree, Christy Garcia Thomas. At this time, I am honored to introduce the governing body behind Women United, the Women's Leadership Council. This is a group of amazing leaders who help to guide and leverage the powerful efforts behind our Women United members. Would the members of the Women's Leadership Council here today please stand up? Events like this amazing event are not possible without the support of sponsors. And we would like to take a moment to thank a longtime friend of United Way, Baird. Please welcome the Director and Senior Investment Consultant with the Hodge Williams Group, Stacy Williams.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Julia. It's nice to be here, gathered around all of you women once again, celebrating so many wonderful things about Milwaukee and people and our community. On behalf of all of us at Baird, including all of the folks over here in the front, we have a wonderful group of 20 women here to support us today. Thank you for coming. We are thrilled to be a sponsor of the 21st Annual Women United Bruncheon. This event brings together strong, passionate women, each sharing their unique experiences and expertise. We proudly stand together with over 55,000 women from 165 communities in 6 countries as part of Women United. And I believe we might still be the largest. Yes. All right. We are the largest group within that, so congratulations, everybody, on that. The accomplishments of this group speak for themselves. Women United continues to work to change the lives of women and girls in our community. I want to take a moment to thank Women United Council for everything they do, of which I am a member of and have been for a long time and have very much enjoyed all the relationships over these years. And also for hosting the event today. Each year, it's so wonderful to connect with powerful leaders who inspire all of us. I also want to thank United Ways under the leadership of Amy Lindner. Thank you, Amy. We see the changes happening in our community, and we know that people are living better lives because of the work that you are leading. Thank you very much again. Today, Women United is embracing the new United Way initiative, Empowering Minds. Thank you, Dr. Perez, for joining us and sharing your insights on the challenges of high school students in 2023. And having a daughter who's entering her freshman year at Nicolet this fall, I'm very well aware of some of these issues, so I think that we are in for a nice treat in hearing what Dr. Perez has to share with us. We are also thrilled to be the first to congratulate Christy Garcia Thomas on being awarded the Linda T. Mellows Women of the Year Award. Again, congratulations, Christy. She adds her name to the long list of incredible past winners who have shown all of us what true generosity looks like. Thank you, Christy, for all you've done for our community. Baird has a very long tradition of giving back to the communities where we live and work. We are so proud to continue that tradition today by sponsoring this special event. So with that, I would like to thank you all for being here, and thank you for helping us celebrate Women United. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you to Baird for all your wonderful contributions over the years to our community. I also want to take a moment to thank all of you who sponsored a table for today's event. Your support for United Way is changing the lives of thousands of people in our community, especially women and girls. Over the past year, we had a chance to hear some really powerful stories. We met Nina. After suffering with violence for years, Nina and her children found the support that they needed with United Way partner, the Women's Center. We met Sasha. Sasha and her family were helped by the United Way Safe and Stable Homes Initiative, working with the Stable Home Partner Family Promise of Waukesha County. She joined over 6,000 families who used United Way funded programs to help them stay in their homes. And we met Claire, a lifelong Girl Scout. Claire built the confidence that she needed to pursue her dreams through United Way funded programs at Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Southeast. All found the support they needed through United Way. Thank you for supporting this work. You know and you understand the challenges that women face every day. You know that the power of philanthropy and why investing in the work of United Way is so important to change lives. You know the power of volunteering, demonstrating to others that the strength of women is and always has been about action. And you know the power of advocacy. Thank you for using your voice for change. I want to thank you one more time for joining us today to celebrate all that the women leaders do in our community. And now I'm going to let you enjoy that delicious food in front of you. So please enjoy your brunch, and we will be back in a few minutes. Thanks.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt all the great conversations that are happening out there. I hope you're enjoying your brunch. Please continue eating as we begin our program. I'm Leslie Winiger, Vice President of Development for Advocate Health and a Women United co-chair. I'm so pleased to be with all of you today at this very special event. In 2002, a group of women in our area came together to make a difference in the lives of women and girls throughout our community, forming the United Way Women's Initiative. They saw the issues that needed addressing and wanted to do something about it. Throughout the years, women have always been active in their support of our local United Way and the work that was being done. But the founders of the Women's Initiative knew they wanted to do more, especially for other women and girls. They began discussing and coordinating efforts around the Healthy Girls Initiative. That initiative supported evidence-based programs that responded to one of two issue areas identified as impediments to good health and well-being of young people in our community: teen pregnancy and sexual violence or victimization. The support of this initiative would set the tone for Women United for years to come. It would also change Milwaukee and the surrounding counties forever. Fast forward to today, and we're about to support another key focus for our community, one that will have lasting change for young people everywhere. Let me tell you why our Women United is the right group to support this work. Locally, We have over 1,600 women from Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County involved in the Women United Network. And, as Stacy mentioned, we continue to be the largest network in the world. Last year, Women United raised over $23 million for United Way. That deserves applause. Since 2002, the Women United Network has donated over $240 million to ignite lasting change in our community. Our success would not be possible if it weren't for the women who looked around, saw what needed to be done, stepped up, and said, "We can do more." And so, we're ready to do more. In early 2022, United Way brought together mental health experts to explore the topic of youth mental health in our community. Advice and guidance came from local, state, and national experts, as well as those with lived experience. Today, we're going to learn more about a new, important United Way initiative called Empowering Minds. We know it's not easy being an adolescent or a young adult. Not only are they experiencing physical, hormonal, and emotional changes that can be uncomfortable and confusing, they're also dealing with societal expectations and challenges. Now, throw in a pandemic. According to data from the CDC, more than a third of high school students reported they experienced poor mental health during COVID-19. Recently, we had a chance to visit Waukesha South High School and learn firsthand the challenges that local students are facing. Let's take a look.
I feel stressed, incredibly stressed. Class projects are piling on. It's very stressful and tiring. It's starting to become difficult to find the energy to actually do the things classes are giving to me. And some of the friendships don't seem to be going too well. I think my stress and tiredness is getting in the way of many things.
I think struggling with mental health issues looks very differently among students. I see a lot of students who are very isolated and struggling to come to school. I see students who are afraid to make connections with other students. I see students who are struggling with motivation in their ability to concentrate in class. We also find that students, the mental health that they're experiencing can result in them being in a bathroom and having a panic attack, just completely disengaging from their classwork.
I think the biggest challenges that high school students face every day is insecurity among other peers. I feel like it's kind of hard to not feel that way because moving from middle school to high school, it's a really big thing. And I feel like nowadays there's a lot of expectations for youth.
Misconceptions among parents, oftentimes they think that it is a phase. It's a phase their child is in, or they don't necessarily take it completely seriously, or the child really doesn't talk to them to the extreme or to the extent that they really know all the things that are going on. So sometimes they think that it's not something that's important, but in reality it might be something that's worthy of a visit to the doctor, a visit to a therapist, investigating a little bit more what's going on with their child and how to actually help their child.
I feel like a huge misunderstanding that people have is that it's not really a big deal or it's like a controlled situation. I feel like sometimes life kind of spirals out of hand and I feel like you can't really control it. And I feel like from the outside looking in, of course somebody is not gonna understand you or kind of relate to you because they're not in the situation. But I feel like, it's really hard to kind of see someone else's point of view or be in someone's shoes. So when people have that misconception of oh, it's easy or it's not that hard or just get over it, it's not really like that.
I think the ultimate goal for students in promoting mental health is awareness. Empowering Minds is a new initiative, including Waukesha South, just has the opportunity to share that awareness and expose that awareness to so many students and families and teachers that really is going to bring mental health to the forefront and make it okay to get help, to indicate that you're feeling these things, and then have things be able to be better.
So let's learn more about this important topic from today's keynote speaker. Dr. Maria Elena Perez is a licensed psychologist and vice president of behavioral health at 16th Street Community Health Centers in Milwaukee. Maria has practiced in mental health services in both inpatient and outpatient settings and helped launch the behavioral health department at the 16th Street Community Health Centers. We're so pleased to have her with us today. Please help me welcome Dr. Maria Elena Perez.
Wow, thank you for that introduction. So some of you will see I have ballerina slippers on. Those heels were terrible, but I wanted to also acknowledge that this is my way, maybe symbolically, of stepping into my childhood self, because I think part of this afternoon is really about celebrating youth, and this is my way of remembering who I was and kind of who I still am, right? So I just want to get started by just asking the question, how lucky am I to be here? This is wonderful. Just going to try to get oriented here. So my aim today really is to give as much as I can in 15 minutes that I have allotted to the time to talk a little bit about youth and mental health from developmental perspectives. I can't even talk about the topic without making mention of parenting and its vital role in mental health. The role of trauma, because again, that is really something that gets a lot of attention now, not only in the research, but in the media, and we all know it as parents and advocates for our youth. The role of social connectedness, really, and we learned a lot through COVID, the devastation of not having that social connectedness, what that impact can mean. I won't make it scientific, I promise. That was my battle, right? When I'm creating these presentations, I don't want to sound too academic. I don't want to sound too scientific, but it warrants mention because there's really, really good news, because I want it to be inspirational as well. And then finally, just talking about how we can step into our impact in what we can do to help our youth move into just greater joy. And that's what it's really all about. So I just wanted to put this picture up here because all of us remember, I hope you remember, I know I do, I remember that joy, that wonder of when you were a little kid, remember that? So as I just talk here briefly, I want you to just bring a picture in your mind of when you were a little kid, a little boy, a little girl, and there was just not a care in the world, right? Some of us had other cares in the world, but I'm hoping that at least there were a couple of memories there where there was joy and wonder, because that's really what we want to get back to, is that innocence. And then we fast forward into early adolescence and those teenage years, and aside from the turmoil and the hormones, we remember what it's like, don't we? We remember the energy, the rawness of being a teenager, the feeling of being invincible and on top of the world. And we want to get back there, don't we? You know, not only them, but us. We want to feel just an inkling of what that was like and hopefully remember what that was like. So I sit here and I wanted to share a quote that I found. This is Nicola Stevenson. There is joy and wonder everywhere when you see the world through the eyes of a child. And isn't that true, right? And I think that there are real good reasons for that, because doesn't it make sense from a developmental perspective to be grounded in joy and wonder about this life and what it's really about and the human potential? So it's really important to remember that and also ground ourselves in the key tasks of being a young child. We have to remember that as a child, and talking about infancy, toddlerhood, up until probably the age of 5 or 6 pre-K, the tasks are really around acquiring motor skills, large and fine motor skills. The key feature of that age is really security and safety, and that'll come in really important when I make mention of trauma in a little bit. Exploration of our environment, imagination and play, and learning about feelings as early as that age. So those are really the markers of being in that wonderful age that we call early childhood. And then with teenagehood, or adolescence as we like to call it, a quote I find here is, "The day I changed was the day I quit trying to fit into the world that never really fit me." And those of us who are parents in the room, or those of us who are advocates or work with youth, we know that one of the cornerstones of adolescence is oftentimes not fitting in. So we want to just acknowledge that those are very different developmental tasks when we talk about the differences between children and adolescents. The task here in adolescence is really trying to crystallize what we call emotional regulation. And I would argue, and most would agree, that even in our 20s, we're still not there yet, right? So, but that's where all that's happening, and it's possible not only biologically, but it's also what's socially promoted in this stage of life. Identity development is key during this time. Individuation, which is that process of figuring out who you are independent of your family of origin. And self-image, battling with, liking yourself, not liking yourself, and comparisons with your peers. That's also predominant during that age. And also the importance of peer relations during that time. So I'm not going to get into Psychology 101, as tempting as that is. I know that there are different theoretical perspectives of children and what how to help children during these times. We have a lot of different approaches that say, well, what's important is what's modeled to the child, right? And then yet we have others that disagree and say, no, it's their attachment. There has to be attachment and bonding during infancy, otherwise it's a no-go, right? And still others argue against all that, and they say, no, what you're born, how you're born, and if we're talking about nature, nurture, it's all predetermined by your genetics. So I won't go into all of those, but I just wanted to highlight that we all have different ideas about what accounts for personality in children and adolescents. And I think it's a really important dialogue to have, because I think the answer here is they're all right. All of them are correct in some way, shape, or form. But one pivotal topic that we need to really acknowledge here is the topic of parenting. There's a study by Susan Harris, I think was her name, and she came out, I don't know if it was in the 90s or 2000s, that really put the idea of peer relations as being the most important feature of developing personality in adolescence. And I want to say, again, most theories are right to an extent, but I wanted to take the perspective of parenting because the literature is overwhelming with regards to how personalities are shaped, and conversely, how trauma and adverse childhood experiences are formulated in childhood, and then they start to affect adolescence and beyond. We know that through the literature, bonding, nurturing, that first attachment with a caregiver is vital because there are some biological reasons why those processes are so important. We know that when that attachment isn't there, that often, not always, often, too often, sets up that child for a very difficult life, because we have children who grow up then with a template, not having an idea of what attachment is or the proper way to attach, right? That sets them up later on for maladaptive relational patterns in late childhood, early adolescence, and beyond. So we really want to put that at the forefront as we discuss what we can do. to address that. There's something called reciprocity, emotional reciprocity. Some of you might remember when you held a child, the idea that there's a nonverbal communication going on between caregiver and child. There's that reciprocity. Even when you're talking here over lunch, you're making eye contact with the person in front of you. And there's an understanding and there's an energy because you're nodding and having a conversation. There's reciprocity. It is a finding in the research that children, especially young children, need that emotional reciprocity in order to have that security and that attachment in their environment. We know that child temperament is another variable we look at. How many of you know that there are children born into this world and they are born with a lot of energy, perhaps maybe an excess of temper tantrums and anger, if you will? Those children are parented differently. Oftentimes, those children elicit different parenting patterns. And that is something we know in the research that is an area where we can really target those parents to help deal with children who have those difficult temperaments, right? We know that even in the same family, we have children who are radically different, even though biologically they are very similar. There's a model in psychology called the goodness of fit model that posits that a certain amount of parenting or a certain kind of parent or type of parent is well suited or well fit for a certain type of child temperament. And so that was some of the work that came out in the 1960s and 70s. Has not been debunked. It's again partially true. But we know that not everything fits into a neat little box when we're talking about humans, right? I also want to make mention of expectations. And this is where I know plenty of teenagers, and I have 4 of my own. They're not teenagers anymore, but I have young adults. And, you know, having developmentally appropriate expectations is really important. You're not going to expect a 3-year-old to not jump on the couch. If they're jumping on the couch, it's not unusual, right? You might think differently if they're 18 and jumping off the couch. Discipline, another area. We have to remember discipline is really embedded in that word is teaching, right? You have a teacher aspect of discipline. Discipline is not the same as punishment, so I wanted to just make mention of that. People hear the word discipline, and many people think about that in a punitive way. We're really talking about teaching because parents are the first teachers. And then we have teachers and caregivers, aunties, uncles, neighbors. There's that takes a village model that I will talk about in just a little bit. So how do things go awry? I'm talking about all this normal stuff with development, right? Well, if we have an interference with attachment, domestic violence, substance use disorders in the family, child abuse and neglect, adverse childhood experiences or ACEs. In all of these are regarded as traumatic experiences. Now, some children will develop full-blown PTSD or post-traumatic stress or some traumatic disorder on the spectrum. And I just listed a few of them here. And we're seeing these in our clinics, probably not just 16th Street, other places here, where all of you, or at least most of you, have seen children struggling with depression, anxiety, and maybe they have anger, maybe even clinically significant anger that shows up as aggression or defying the rules or breaking the law, attention deficit disorders, and then certainly attachment disorders, which I already made mention of. So that's when things really go awry. And most problems, I would say, fall on a spectrum. These are not categories, but rather a continuum across virtually all, if I would say, diagnoses. But it's really important for us to not pathologize our children and our teenagers. Sometimes I've even heard parents say, "What is wrong with them? What is wrong with you?" Right? And you know, we sometimes fall into our language because we know that linguistics plays a role in how thought and behaviors and emotions are shaped. But oftentimes, children will say, my mother, my father, they think I'm crazy, I'm the one that's different in the family, they think I'm trouble, and that starts to build their schema or their self-concept. Same with traumatic experiences. We now know more than ever, and I think with the advent of neuroscience, we're learning even more and more each day, the adverse effects on the brain with trauma. And we're talking about deficits in learning. We're talking about effects on emotional regulation, self-concept, social connectedness, even health. Okay, so we know that traumatic experiences are correlated with cardiovascular diseases later on. So it really is an important topic that we need to be mindful of as we talk about trauma. And you know, you think about us, we're adults, and it's presumed that adults probably know how to deal with trauma better. That is not true. We only have the advantage of maybe a little bit of maturity, right? And life experiences that set us up maybe a little bit better to deal with trauma. But we know that children or adolescents, they don't have the same advantages that we do. Plus, not to mention, their brains are still developing. So we know there are 3 kinds of trauma: the acute trauma from a single incident, like a car accident. But then things happen where it becomes more chronic, such as the case where a child is prolonged to repeated domestic violence in the home. And then complex trauma, where these again are really, become more difficult to treat over time because we're talking about interpersonal traumas, and those are very, very difficult, not impossible to treat. So here's just a couple of pictures of traumatic events, substance use. Children respond differently to trauma than adolescents do. Children typically manifest separation anxiety if they are seeing domestic violence in the home. They often have developmental regression, learning issues, that sort of thing. They present with somatic complaints. Certainly school-age children, they have sleep disturbances. They might say they have a bellyache, or they feel like nauseous. These are not unusual situations for children who are not doing well emotionally. This is really important news for us as people who love our children and adolescents, because they may be signs that something else is going on. The development of internalization, anxiety disorders start to emerge in school-age children, as well as behavioral problems like aggression and that kind of thing. With teenagers, we know that, remember, their stage here is all about identity formation, figuring out who they are. So if they're experiencing a heightened sense of guilt and shame, that likely can impact their development into adulthood and affect their relationships in sometimes permanent ways, but it takes a while to get back from that. But we're learning so much more, and the more we learn, the more we know how to remedy that problem. Fortunately, I'm talking about situations where children are struggling. We do know that there are factors that protect children's mental health. And I'm talking about things like having a strong parenting, strong family ties, extracurricular activities, a teacher that loves them and cares about them, security, that kind of thing, just to name a few. That's a presentation in and of itself. So just as though there are risk factors, there are protective factors, and we're learning more and more about how those protective factors can really make a difference in the brain and in the child's emotional health. I can't do a presentation like this without making mention of screen time. Now, you guys, I like Facebook and texting just as much as anybody. And what's true for so many things is true of screen time, right? A little bit of moderation. But I felt it was important to just mention that even now, as we are coming out of those COVID times, we are now seeing stronger research that suggests that too much screen time, namely, we're talking, if it's not regulated, if it's not monitored, these children, you have to remember, their brains are still developing. And so we're seeing a lot more anxiety disorders in children who are younger and younger. Those at risk appear to be between the ages of 11 and 13. That's the research I've been looking at. So we have to really pay attention to that. And I think that this is just the beginning. We're going to see a lot more research coming forward with regards to screen time. And screen time, not only what they're exposed to, but also screen takes away from social connectedness. And I know, Leslie, you just made mention of COVID, and we did see a lot of isolation, and that devastated not only children and teenagers, but the adults as well. We are designed to have social connectedness, and social connectedness is actually a buffer against depression and anxiety. So I bring back the question of nature and nurture. And again, it's oftentimes a little bit of both. The good news here is that we are learning more through a field called epigenetics. Maybe some of you have heard this term. Epi means beyond or above genetics. We are learning more and more that we are not doomed necessarily to our DNA or our genes, that environment plays a huge role. And this is really, really important if we are to feel empowered in how to help our youth. So if we're saying that environment plays even perhaps a stronger role than genetics or organic features, we really have to say the ball is in our court, because epigenetics says that how you see the world selects your genes. So we might be similar as brother and sister in our genetic makeup, but how we see the world determines the selection of genes that are activated or turned on or turned off. So that's why epigeneticists are now saying people in the same family or children in the same family might manifest very differently. So I think what that means is us as adults, as lovers of children and of youth, we have a lot of power in helping our youth see the world differently than a place that's bleak, a place that's unsafe, a place that's hostile. There's a lot of things that we can do. We also know through more research in epigenetics that there are phenomena that are transmitted from mother to fetus. Now that makes sense from even just a common sense perspective, right? But if we take that further, we start to think about transgenerational trauma and how trauma affects even the selection of our genetics, right? So we have to be mindful about that, because I think not only our youth need help, but our moms and our dads need help too. We have to really put to the forefront this idea of parental self-care. And I'm not talking about taking a bubble bath, and even though that's nice too, right? A bubble bath with candles, that's all nice, right? But really, it's about examining the way we think ourselves, the way that parents take care of themselves. It does have to do with, going to the gym and yoga, meditation, but it's very much about examining our own childhoods, right? Examining what are our own unhealed wounds. Because our wounds, if we're not careful, they transmit to the next generation. So we're sort of all on a journey of healing. It's not just our youth. We know that less stress is correlated with less harsh parenting practices. So really being more present and taking a deep breath before you respond is really important. So there's power in parenting. That's really the message, the optimistic message I want to convey today. There is power in parenting. I do not believe for 1 minute that while our youth are in trouble, they are in trouble collectively. We see a lot more emotional disorders that we have probably historically, at least in this country. We have to be optimistic. And I'm not just the girl in the ballerina slippers with the rose-colored glasses. I really believe the science. And the science here says, if we empower ourselves with knowledge, be aware that there are critical periods in childhood, we can really equip ourselves and become genetic engineers, if you'd like the term. I've heard that term used in literature. I've heard that. So really, heavy on warmth, heavy on listening, heavy on understanding, heavy on non-judgment, right? And we're all human. We're going to fail. We're going to fall, right? Pick yourself up. Forgive yourself. Because have you noticed how forgiving children are? Have you noticed how much grace they extend to their adults? Even when they've been harmed, when their feelings have been hurt, they're always the first to forgive. I wouldn't say every time, but a lot of times, children have amnesia in a way, and that is a blessing, and we have a lot to learn. So we should model things for our children, like self-care, proper boundaries, prioritizing them, mirroring emotional reciprocity that I talked about earlier, being willing to not interrupt and just listen to what they have to say, even though sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like my granddaughter this morning in the back seat of the car says, "Grandma, what's 27 plus 94 plus Q plus red?" I don't know. I think I might have said something like 244, and she said, "Oh." Validation, imagination. We have to be willing to foster confidence, and we do that by play dates, of course when they're little, right? Social gatherings, extracurriculars. All of this is literature-based, which we know these factors have helped and they've gone a long way. But fostering positive relationships with siblings, cousins, and peers, and certainly with us as parents and adults. These are the 7 C's of social competence: curiosity, control, conflict resolution, coping, confidence, communication, community building. And I will add an 8th there that doesn't start with the letter C. It's delay of gratification. We know that children who are taught to delay gratification or wait until the reward is given, those children develop stronger social competency later on. So let's pay attention to not excessively rewarding the children when they're really young. With teenagers, and I think that this is a topic that's at the forefront of all of our minds this morning. Listen without prejudice. So many teenagers, they say, you know, I'm not going to say anything, they're going to judge me. They feel judged. A lot of teenagers are disconnected for feeling judged. So we have to get to know their friends without prejudice, get to know them as human beings, ask what their opinion is, and not be quick to jump and say, no, that's wrong. Instead say, that's interesting. Can you tell me more? Give them space. Now, some moms tell me, I don't want to give them space because I feel like they're going to withdraw more and more. You'd be shocked. You give them a little space and you say to them, I'm going to give you space. You look like you could need some space. Come find me when you're ready, right? Or maybe later on, knock on the door. Hey, are you ready to come down? I'm going to grab a Starbucks or a latte or whatever. Doesn't always have to involve caffeine, but you know what I mean. Offer your time, because time translated to teenagers is I am important enough to be held in a space with somebody who loves me. I'm important enough for them to give me my time, so that's very, very important. Self-disclosure, being genuine. I find that children and teenagers especially have been very responsive to me when I'm willing to tell them a little bit about what I struggled with as a teen, and maybe even a little bit of what I continue to struggle with as an adult. And finally, thank them. I was at, real quick story, very quick. I was at, y'all ever been to Monkey Joe's? Good Lord. That was terrifying, but fun at the same time. So I was at Monkey Joe's a couple weeks ago with my granddaughters. And how many of you are integrally involved in raising grandchildren? It's probably several, or maybe I'm the only one in the room. I hope not. But anyway, I've got my 2 little grandbabies there, and I'm walking to the garbage can with this empty pizza box and, you know, empty cups from the sodas and whatnot, and this, I think probably preteen boy runs right into me. I think he was on the way to the bumper cars or whatever is there at Monkey Joe's, and everything went flying. And I just kind of startled, and I looked at his face, and he looked so sorry. And he picked everything up and started walking to the garbage. And I followed him. And I'm thinking, gosh, I hope he doesn't think I'm like a stalker or something like that. But I followed him, and I waited until he was finished, and I said, that is so sweet. Thank you so much. And he just smiled from ear to ear and threw his arms around me. He was taller than me, so he almost knocked me over. But I thought to myself, isn't that what youth need? Even strangers can make a difference. And I don't know that I made a difference, maybe not, I don't know, but it sure felt good to affirm pro-social behavior. So I want us to all keep that in mind. Even with children who we don't know, we can really make a difference, and at the very least model that, because modeling is very important when we talk about making an impact on our teenagers. So it takes a village. Talk to the kids, heavy on the praise, heavy on the gratitude, and eye contact and smile, because that makes them not feel invisible, because so many of our youth do in fact feel invisible. So let's go ahead and celebrate our youth, lift them up, and I really want to thank you for your attention and your time this morning.
Hello. Another thank you for Dr. Perez. Dr. Perez, thank you so much. I don't think I was the only one taking notes when parenting tips were being given. And I'd like to talk to you more about raising children who apologize. That sounds exciting. I think he's apologizing inside. That's what I'm going to remember. Also, can I just take 1 second? Can we just give a shout out to this Pfister staff? I'm so happy to be here. Every event. I mean, you're just very, very good at what you do, and we're so grateful. So grateful to be back here with this, one of my favorite annual events. I didn't even introduce myself. Hello, I'm Nicole. I'm a little overexcited to be here. I'm so happy to be here today, in particular, one, to see so many of you IRL, as the young people say. It's wonderful to see you in person. To be together face-to-face has been truly a gift. I am especially excited, both in my professional role and as a parent, to talk to you today about empowering minds. Before I do that, I'm not sure where she's sitting, and I'm not wearing my bifocals because I can't read the script with them. Where's Amanda? Can we give a shout out to Amanda? I get to be up here, but she's been the one doing this work behind the scenes so wonderfully for the last couple of years, so that I can stand here and tell you what we've done and what we're going to do. So super grateful for that. We have something called Key Initiatives at United Way. The people in this room are uniquely positioned and uniquely familiar with our original, the OG initiative, Teen Pregnancy Prevention, which we had the pleasure of doing very intensely for over 15 years. We're still doing it with purposeful, thoughtful funding to evidence-based programming. But what we learned in doing that model is that agency funding is critically important, but we can do more when we go deeper. We can do more when we say, you know what? What are those core issues, those key challenges facing communities that United Way might be uniquely positioned for, to bring those resources together, the human and the financial capital, to say, we're going to move this needle towards one goal. The original goal was reducing the teen birth rate. Since that, we've set other goals around making sure that there are zero family homelessness, making sure that barriers to employment are reduced so that everyone is able to get a family-sustaining, wage-earning job where they're treated with dignity, where schools are places of discovery and wonder and safety. These are all not just aspirations, but achievable goals. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we make those decisions. We have a Venn diagram that we use at the office when we're trying to figure out if there's something else that we should take on, if there's something new that we should do and lift. And we ask ourselves these questions. Do the people in this room care about this issue? Right? Does our community care about this issue? Because if the community doesn't care, we're going to have a real hard time addressing it. Is it an important issue? And when I say important, I don't just mean because we feel it's important, but does the data bear that out as well? Can we show that this is really something that's impacting our four-county community? And finally, and this is one of the harder questions, are we the right people to help? Do we have the capacity, the competence, the team to move this work forward? And a question of, I think, equal importance, is, do we have the trust and the credibility to address this issue? You cannot do this work from the outside in. This work has to come from within. And at United Way, we take that very seriously, which is to say, we're only going to step up and tell you that we're launching a key initiative when we've done this background work and this self-analysis. After a lot of discussion, and again, the wonderful work of Amanda and community volunteers that are in this room, we know that youth mental health fits all of these criteria. We know that our donors care about it. We've heard about that for years. We know that through research and data, this is an incredibly, you saw some really clear data from Dr. Perez just now, and we know that we have the right partners in place to do this work. But there's a fourth question. So we've talked about, can we raise money for it? Is it a real issue? Can we do the work? But what's the why? And I would just like to talk to you briefly about my why, because this issue is personal. I think it's personal for all the parents in this room who are doing our best to raise kids and raise teenagers. I have, some of you have heard of him, I talk about him a little bit. I have a son, he's 16, he doesn't have any ACEs. I use ACE here in the technical sense, adverse childhood experiences. These are real things that real children in our communities have faced. He has 0 ACEs. We've done a really good job keeping him safe and whole and healthy. And he lives in a home where we're privileged to have access, where we have the financial, social, and even emotional resources to get him what he needs. He checks all the boxes when you're thinking about like what makes a healthy teen. And yet still, last year, there were 2 weeks that were so dark that we had to seek help externally. And I don't say that for any other reason than, can we just talk about this as parents? Can we please destigmatize? I have a beautiful, smart, talented kid who's got a lot going on for him. And for a couple weeks last year, I couldn't help him. And I was blessed to have the resources, the work flexibility, the family support to get him what he needs. But I'm not the only one in this room that's facing this. If my kid had leukemia, if he had a broken bone, we would talk about it openly and honestly. Let's do the same thing with mental health, and that's whether or not they're on a 2 or a 3 and they're having a tough day, or they're at a 10 and they need inpatient and they need more than we can possibly do at home. So that's my why, and it's for Lucas and all of your whys that we're doing this work. We know we can change the lives of high school students by focusing on mental health promotion, early intervention, and treatment services. Empowering Minds is centered in schools. I want to give I keep saying shout out like I'm here at a basketball game. I want to give a shout out to Children's Hospital. Can we thank Children's Hospital for the extraordinary work they're doing every single day? We are very aware that there are tremendous partners in this community already addressing mental health, which is why for us we had to look internally at what's our niche? Where do we have the opportunity to make a difference? And that's where we landed, was at schools. Because here's what we also know, our kids spend a lot of time with their teachers and their school staff. They're there many, many days, many, many hours for many, many years. Let's make sure schools are the safe place for them to be, and that the staff at those schools have what they need to move this work forward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna achieve 6 targeted milestones at schools to make sure that they become mental health schools of distinction. That's a comprehensive mental health system. So we're not just talking about having on-site treatment. We're talking about training teachers to recognize signs. We're talking about making sure school staff know how to access the resources that they need. The benefits of such a model include improved student learning, engagement in graduation rates, reduction in bullying, reduction in violence, and on and on. Right now, we are in the pilot stage of this initiative. You saw in the wonderful video the pre-work that's been going on at Waukesha South High School. We're also very pleased to be starting this work in James Madison Academic Campus, or JMAC, in the city of Milwaukee. We are doing needs assessments, we're doing asset mapping, we are looking around to figure out what's already going on, what do we know, and what do we need to know. And the work that we're doing today will help us expand future work to fully equip each school with the tools that it needs to become, again, a mental health school of distinction. We know that this is going to be complex and challenging work, but we also know we have the right people involved. And that starts here with Women United. Women United, an extraordinary group of women. You heard earlier on, the biggest in the country. A couple people at my table said, the best in the country, what? Biggest, best, and visionary. Okay, without Women United, we don't get to talk about things like teen pregnancy prevention and infant mortality and youth mental health and these issues that are critically important to all of us, but perhaps have a particular import to women. Each year at our Bruncheon, we have a call to action, something that we ask you to help us do, and this year it's very simple. We want you to help us grow empowering minds. All of you in this room can be on the ground level of this work. You can have a direct impact as we take on our next steps. There are a few examples of what just a donation of $50 today could do, for example. $50 will support 5 mental health toolkits for parents, providing guidance on how to best communicate with their teen about mental health. $150 provides 25 students access to universal mental health screening tools for an entire year. And $500 will furnish a therapist's school office with what they need to make sure it's a safe and healing space. There is a QR code in our program. All you need to do is use your phone's camera, point it at the code, and that will take you to the donation page. For our friends who prefer more traditional giving, we will also send everyone that has come here today an email with a link so you can give online. I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about my kid again, who actually just texted while we were at lunch with something else going on. We know everyone in this room cares about the work that we do. We know that you want to help. We're going to put things in place so that you can help. You can learn more about Empowering Minds by visiting our website. And again, I am so grateful to have been here with you today. I'm so grateful that you made this a priority. And thank you for your years of generosity and support and for helping us move Empowering Minds forward. Thank you.
Linda Mellors was the very first female United Way board chair, and this award recognizes the powerful impact women like Linda have in our community. Linda was a founding member of our Women United network, inspiring us all to be the best Women United team in the world. She is passionate, engaged, and committed to improving the lives of others. And for all that she has done for us in Milwaukee, we created this award in her honor, recognizing the incredible qualities she demonstrates every day. The Woman Leader of the Year award is presented to a woman who exhibits leadership and is highly respected in our community, who serves as a role model and/or mentor to other women and girls, who gives back to the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County community through her time, talent, and treasure, who demonstrates a commitment to further Women United's mission, inspiring women in our community to donate financially and be strong advocates for women and girls.
Please welcome Linda T. Mellos.
Well, this is a hard act to follow. I have to get my thinking about what I've heard by several of you, and I think that's the gift that we're giving to you today is the power of empowerment with each other. I'm a little teary about this whole topic, as I imagine all of you are, and you've raised the conversation in such a wonderful public place with all the women in this room. I'm applauding you because you're here today. You're willing to work and search and believe in what we as women can do in this community. And I've seen it happen. And I'm so excited about the number of people who are here today. I don't even know all your faces. And I couldn't get to all the tables, so I'm waving. But this is something that's been very important to me for a long time. And I must say, I have to tell you one of my moments of great surprise. When I was said that I would be the chair of the board, I didn't know that I was the first woman to do that until I read it in the paper the next day. Now, that's how light I am. But anyhow, it's been a long journey, and I've loved every moment of it, and I've not even given up yet. I'm still doing all the things I love to do. Thank you. I'm going to tell my husband you applauded. He might not think that was a good thing. He suggests I drop a few things, and I can't do it. I just can't do it as long as I can. So, as a founding member of the Women's Initiative, I feel so proud to see where we've come in a long period of time, or just yesterday. It's amazing. Each of you have such good things to do for this community. And I believe that we as women have a really special talent about asking somebody for something because you're doing it from your heart, because you know it's going to make a difference. And that is the way that has always worked for me, as I've said to somebody, help me do something that's going to make a difference for a lot of people. So you're all doing that by just being here. So you know who's the new Woman's of the Year already, which is great. We all love her. I have to share something. When I saw that the company that she works for was merging, I wrote her a note and I said, you can't leave town because we need you here. You are so great and so precious to all of us. She's had a career of a number of things, and she's probably going to talk about a few of those. A leader at Advocate Health since 2011. She's had more than 25 years of working for different places, industry experiences, taking her leadership skills along with her. And I think there's something in one of the things at your table that talks about her bio. And it's not just a job for Christy. I've noticed that, and I believe in that for a long time. She cares about the people she works with. She cares about creating an equitable world, and she cares about the health and well-being of everyone in our community and everyone in this room. So the best we can say is congratulations, and I'm very honored that you would say that, and it's just one of those special times. So we have a little video about Christy. So join me in watching.
Hi, Christy. Congratulations on being recognized as United Way's Women Leadership Linda T. Mello's Woman of the Year. I'm so proud of everything that you do, and I'm also proud of United Way and the impact that you're having in this community. In Hank Aaron's words, in playing ball and in life, a person occasionally gets to do something great. When that time comes, only two things matter: being prepared to seize the moment and having the courage to take your best swing. Thanks for continuing to take your best swing with us. Congratulations.
Christy, I am so pleased and honored to celebrate you today as the recipient of the Linda Mello's Women Leader of the Year Award. Your tireless commitment to the community, driving change to better the lives of others, is so important and inspires us all. You've been a dear friend for nearly 25 years and have served as a role model to me as well as a trusted mentor to both myself and so many that are celebrating you today. Congratulations on this award. Please continue to pour your heart and soul into the community. We're all better off for it. Congrats, Christy.
Señora Garcia, felicidades. Congratulations on this honor. You are so deserving of the Linda T. Mello's Woman Leader of the Year Award. Throughout the time that I've known you, I've had a front row seat to your courageous leadership style, your inclusive mindset, and your get it done attitude. You have made Milwaukee a better place. And most importantly, you have impacted girls, young women, and colleagues, me included. Today, I want you to remember that young girl from Kansas, her big loving family, her humble beginnings, and the challenges and opportunities that she navigated. Remember, out of that, you shaped a life that chose to prioritize people and potential, that has chosen to build with hope and hard work, and that has chosen to give so much to others and to community. So receive this award with joy. Milwaukee is blessed to have you, and I am blessed to count you as a colleague and friend.
Congratulations, Christy. We are so excited to honor you with this award. You are passionate, committed, tireless in your hard work and generosity and kindness for our community. We are so grateful for all you've done and continue to do for so many, and look forward to many more chapters together. We're truly blessed to have you in our lives and in our community. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Christy Garcia Thomas, on this prestigious award. It reminds me of when you stepped out on the Stepping with the Stars stage. And what stood out to me was that you were in tune with the rhythm, your partner, and the music. And I think that speaks to your character. You're all about people and relationships, and you connect in ways that are in tune, where you bring harmony and enjoy the melodies of others' lives. Continue to do that, and I salute you on this day and days to come. Wish you the best.
Hi, Christy. It is such a pleasure for me personally and our entire team here at United Way to see your incredible work in our community done over so many years recognized in this way. It is extra special to see it recognized in the name of the wonderful Linda T. Mellows, who, like you, has just trailblazed in so many ways. Thank you, thank you, thank you for living united.
Hola, chica. I wanted to give you a little peek into what your wardrobe will look like for the next 4 years. Arizona State mom and maroon and gold everything. But I digress. That's not the subject du jour. It is my amazing honor to be able to congratulate you on the Linda T. Mellows Woman Leader of the Year Award. I can't believe we've known each other for over 25 years. Yikes. We've worked together when you were at the Journal, at UPath, and in all of your iterations at Aurora. And you have dominated and excelled in all of those roles. You are the most impressive, inspiring, and remarkable leader. Yet when people meet you, the first things that shine out are your heart and your humility. You have risen into the highest ranks in the challenging healthcare industry and have successfully navigated mergers and acquisitions, and that's not an easy achievement. But perhaps the highest accolade is that you've accomplished all of this while setting the boundaries you needed to continue to be an outstanding wife, mother, daughter, sister, friend, and community supporter. So again, congratulations on the the Linda T. Mellows Woman of the Year Award. You are the quintessential role model for all young women in business today.
Christy, congratulations on being named the Linda T. Mellows Woman Leader of the Year. I can say without hesitation that there is no one more deserving of this honor. Whether it's through your work at Advocate Health, your philanthropic endeavors, or your passion to help other women, I am constantly inspired by you. We are so lucky to have had you leading important initiatives throughout our community for nearly 3 decades, and we are especially grateful for your thoughtful leadership over the last 3 tumultuous years. As someone who has benefited from your wisdom both personally and professionally, I want to say thank you for your continued mentorship, guidance, leadership, and most of all, your friendship. Thank you and congratulations.
Hey Mom, congratulations on being awarded the Linda T. Mellows Woman Leader of the Year. We are so proud of everything that you do for our community, our city of Milwaukee, providing healthcare that's fully accessible for all in our community.
And for being a strong role model for myself and your granddaughter and providing mentorship to young women in the community.
We love you so much. We can't wait to see what you're gonna do next for our community. And again, we just love you so much. Say we love you, Nana. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations, Mom, on winning the Linda Mellows Woman Leader of the Year Award. We're so proud of all of you accomplished here in this community and what you plan to accomplish in the future.
Christy, 25 years ago, you moved to Milwaukee and you didn't know a soul. And here you are, 25 years later, getting an award for all the great things that you do. You've helped men, women, and children live better lives, be safer, live healthier, and through the work that you're doing now, you're surely ensuring that people have access to health care. I just say thank you, thank you, thank you for moving here and agreeing to be my partner in crime and my chief advocate for the past 25 years. But today, it's all about you. Thank you for everything you've done for our family, for our community, for all the organizations that you've touched and worked with, and I can't be any prouder of you. Congratulations, honey.
We love you.
Love you.
So,
So that video was quite a surprise, and it's been an emotional week this week, and typically I feel a little more composed than what I do in this moment. And for all of you who surprised me with the video, I'll pay you later for all the nice things you said, and I'll kick you in the you-know-what for not telling me about it, but and for putting me off my rocker a little bit. I am truly humbled, just very humbled to receive this honor and stand before all of you today. I want to thank all of you, and I want to make sure that I acknowledge all of the men in the room. My husband, Dennis Potts. I think I saw Mike Goucher here earlier. Thank you all for coming. This is truly a very prestigious recognition, and it holds a very special place in my heart, as it symbolizes the progress we have made and the path we continue to pave for future generations of women and children. I would like to begin by acknowledging the remarkable women who have been honored with this award before me. I know some of you are here. I've seen Thelma and Betsy and others, and for whom this award is named after, Linda T. Mellows. Linda has been a beacon of inspiration, tireless advocate for the Milwaukee and surrounding community, and her philanthropic efforts are second to none. Her unwavering dedication to our community has set the stage for us to carry the torch forward. I would also like to thank the over 1,600 women from the greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County involved in the Women United Network, which is the largest network in the world. Thank you for this honor. And I've been a member since 2002 when it started. And as you've heard, we've had great success since 2002. And yet, we still have women in our community and children who need our help. In Milwaukee County alone, we have women living in poverty, which is defined as a household income of 4, making $26,500 a year for a family of 4. 32% of African American women, 18% Asian women, 20% Hispanic women, 20% 2 or more races, and 10% Caucasian women in Milwaukee County are living in poverty, which is why we're all here today, to help make a difference in the lives of those who need us most. Our work is not done. Today, we celebrate the work of Women United, and not just my own personal achievement, but also the importance of women and women voices. Women have always played a vital role in shaping our society, and it's high time that their contributions are recognized and celebrated across all domains. Our voices matter, our perspectives are invaluable, and our experiences are unique. It is through the amplification of these voices that we can challenge the status quo, break down barriers, and create a world that is more inclusive and equitable and just for all women and children. As women leaders, we have a responsibility to mentor and support future generations of women. We must recognize the power of mentorship and the profound impact it can have on a young woman's life. By serving as a mentor, we can guide and inspire them to reach their full potential, encouraging them to dream big and embrace their ambitions. Together, we can create a supportive system that empowers women to rise above adversity and achieve greatness. In the workplace, the value of women cannot be overstated. Women bring a diverse range of perspectives, skills, and talents that enrich organizations, drive innovation, and increase profit margins. We possess unique strengths such as empathy, collaboration, and adaptability, which are critical in navigating today's complex challenges. It is essential that we create environments that foster diversity and inclusion, where women are not only present, but are also provided equal opportunity for growth and leadership. However, we must acknowledge that women still face significant barriers: gender discrimination, unequal pay, lack of representation in leadership positions, and pervasive stereotypes continue to impede our progress. But let me be clear, these barriers will not deter us. We are resilient, determined, and united. Together, we will break down these barriers and create a world where every woman and child can thrive and succeed and live their healthiest life. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of those who have supported and uplifted me throughout my journey. To my husband, Mark, your love, laughter, and encouragement guides me on some of my toughest days. One of my children was able to be with me today, my daughter Jada, who will be going off to ASU, and Patty's gonna come visit her. Jada is very courageous, confident, and caring, and somehow heading off to college. Thank you for serving as an inspiration and showing me how bright the future for young women everywhere can be. To my friends, mentors, those who have guided me along the way, you've been invaluable, and thank you for believing in me and pushing me to reach new heights. To my colleagues and teammates, thank you for your collaboration and for recognizing the value of diverse perspectives. And to all the women who are listening to my words today, I want you to know that your voice matters. Your dreams are valid, and your potential is limitless. Lastly, I want to extend my deepest appreciation to United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County for this great, incredible award that recognizes the contribution of women and provides a platform to celebrate our achievement. Together, let us continue to support one another, empower future generations of women to lead with strength, compassion, and resiliency. Thank you all once again for this tremendous honor. Let us march forward hand in hand as we shape a brighter, more equitable future for everyone. Thank you.
Christy, for all you have done and all we all know you will continue to do.
And thank you to all of our presenters today, especially our keynote speaker, Dr. Perez.
Please remember our call to action and your support of Empowering Minds.
And thanks also to our event sponsor, Baird, and to all of our table sponsors for making this event possible.
Last, please save the date. The Women United Spree will be Friday, November 17th. This is a fun event, so mark your calendars. The purpose, though, is to support United Way, raise awareness, and promote local women-owned businesses while raising money for United Way's Community Fund. I do have one very logistical note. If you have parked in the Pfister garage, you can pick up a discounted parking voucher at registration on your way. Those lucky few who maybe got a spot still.
Right. And thank you to everyone for all that you do for women and young girls in our community. If you're interested in becoming a member of Women United, please reach out to any Women United Council member or any United Way staff. We'd love to have you join us. Thanks for being part of today's event, and have a great afternoon.